bizarre little German family, the Benders. In 1871, William Pa Bender moved his brood from parts unknown to Hound Valley, Kansas, and opened up a little dingy saloon that had a adjoining inn. So it's a saloon and an inn. Ma Bender, who has no known Christian name, spoke only German and suckled two highly unusual children at her breast. John Bender, whose IQ was in the idiot range, who also had a tendency to cackle like a lunatic. John Bender, wasn't much use at anything, except killing, that is, which he enjoyed doing with a sledgehammer or a shovel. The second child, Kate Bender, was a well-rounded specimen of young German womanhood, with plump dumpling breasts and buttocks. She was a self-described spiritualist and mentalist. She was very handy with a carving knife and enjoyed reading the entrails that were both animal and human. Now, in Hound Valley, Kansas, the Benders built their dream business, a little saloon and inn, that beckoned the locals, and more importantly, also beckoned the lonely wayfarers with food and drink, and Bender-style hospitality. Now, Kate would size up any prospective victims with a wink and a smile, often saying, "Haven't we met before, honey?" "I doubt it, sweetheart," answered the prospective victim. "I'm not from around these parts." "So you're all alone then, are you, hun?" "You got it, missy. All alone and looking for company." Now, the Bender brand of hospitality was, in fact, so overwhelming that some guests never left. The Bender Inn was the place where a weary traveler could rest in peace. Rest in peace for all eternity, that is. Now, in March 1873, after 3 years of an uninterrupted and lucrative killing business, the Bender family fortunes were about to change. When Dr. William H. York, a prominent Kansas politician, returning to his home in Independence after visiting his brother, rode into the Benders' lives, rides into their lives one dark and stormy night. "I sure could do with a home-cooked supper," said Dr. York. "Oh," said Kate, smiling, "you could do with much more than that." The Benders gave the doctor a splendid meal with coffee and cake for dessert. Now, after a mighty belch, the good Dr. York said, "Thank you, ma'am. I've got a long ride ahead of me, so I'll be on my way now." "No," said Kate, "you mustn't leave just yet. I know things about the future." "The spirits," said Kate, "tell me many things." "And what do they tell you right now?" asked Dr. York. "That there will be a change in your travel plans, a slight detour," answered Kate. "Detour?" asked Dr. York. "The spirits," yelled Kate, "command me to kill you. Kill you now." Then suddenly, out of nowhere, came John Bender, swinging a sledgehammer, and thump! John Bender cracked open Dr. York's skull. Cracked open his skull just like a ripe cassava melon. As was the routine, the Bender family efficiently tended to their now eternally resting guest, who was quickly dispatched to a secret 6-foot by 5-foot pit, a pit under the floorboards, where Kate Bender finished the job, slitting their customer's throat. And within just a few minutes, the Benders quickly returned everything to normal in their respectable little saloon. But Dr. York was hardly the sort of itinerant loner that the Bender family had become accustomed to detouring. Troubled by his brother's mysterious disappearance, Colonel A.M. York gathered up a posse and retraced Dr. York's path, a trail which took them directly to the Bender family's saloon and inn. "Why, yes," answered Kate. "The doctor did pass through these parts. I watered his horse and then sent him on his way." "And you have not seen him since?" asked the colonel. "Nope," answered Kate. "But perhaps you'd like to come back later, come back alone, to have your palm read and your fortune told." But whether Colonel York actually did return or not, The Bender family was never seen or heard from again. A search of the garden behind the Bender saloon turned up 24 corpses. One of them was a little girl. Their skulls had been crushed by a blunt instrument. Now, not long after the Benders' disappearance, a wagon with their groceries sign was found abandoned near Thayer, Kansas. The ticket agent at the Thayer depot said that he had sold 4 tickets to an old man, a fat woman, a young man, and a rather plump and pretty young girl. Whatever their actual fate, the Bender family quickly became part of the folklore of the Old West. By one popular but unlikely account, Colonel York did return to the Bender family's place, but not alone. According to this tale, Colonel York's posse murdered the Benders and burned their bodies. In this account, the Colonel's men disguised themselves as the Benders and bought train tickets in Thayer in order to cover up the revenge murder of the German immigrant family. In another account, the Benders escaped from Kansas in a hot air balloon, but a massive storm blew them south into Mexico, where they crash-landed on the deck of a passing ship. Unfortunately, the ship and the Benders sank to the bottom of the sea during the massive storm. A popularly circulated rumor had it that an aged German man was arrested for murder. This is 11 years later. In Dillon, Montana, he had crushed his victim's skull with a blunt instrument. Thrown into the slammer in leg irons, he tried to cut through his ankle and bled to death. Some said it was Old Man Bender himself. Now, whoever this old man was, his skull was put on display for over 30 years at the Buckthorn Saloon, put on display right next to the bottles of peppermint schnapps. Well, that's it.